Rocks are pretty cool. I think rocks are honestly the most underrated things on Earth. Or just one of the most underrated things, to play it safe. But genuinely, nobody talks about rocks. Nobody just randomly decides that they want to learn about rocks. And I don't think anyone even has a favorite rock. Well, most people don't. But here's the thing. The more you think about rocks, the weirder they become. Because if you think about it, rocks are kind of everywhere. They're under your house, under your school, or work, whatever. Under entire cities. They're so common that we completely ignore them. And yet, when you actually stop and think about them, rocks are actually kinda crazy. Let's start with a simple question. What is a rock? Seriously. Try explaining it. Most people would say a hard thing on the ground. And wow, very scientific. But basically, a rock is just a bunch of minerals stuck together, which seems pretty simple until you realize that there are rocks that are older than dinosaurs, older than trees, and older than almost every living thing that has ever existed. And imagine holding something in your hand that was already ancient before the first human even existed.
Yeah, that's weird. That's really weird. What the frick is that?
Think about it. A rock sitting in the middle of nowhere could have existed for millions of years. Millions. That rock has survived ice ages, volcanoes, continents moving, and mass extinctions. And well, the rock doesn't even care. That rock has seen things. Entire species came and went. Empires rose and collapsed. Languages were invented. History happened, and the rock was just sitting there, being a rock. Now you might be thinking, okay, but they're still just rocks. Not really. Civilization basically started with rocks. Like stone tools, stone buildings, stone roads, stone monuments. Some of humanity's greatest achievements involve taking a large rock and moving it somewhere else. Think about that. The pyramids? Rocks. Whoa. Ancient castles? Also rocks. A lot of famous landmarks? Just extremely successful rocks. Some rocks become so important that people travel across the world just to look at them. Like imagine being a rock and you just randomly become a tourist attraction. That'd be kinda crazy. One thing I also like about rocks is their confidence. Rocks never try to be anything else. A rock never wakes up and thinks, I wish I was cooler. I wish people like me more. I wish I was trending online.
And I wish you would like and subscribe to the YouTube channel.
No. I'm not saying that to the like, whatever. A rock is completely comfortable being a rock. You could insult a rock all day and nothing would happen. You could tell it, you're boring. The rock doesn't care. You could tell it, nobody notices you. It still doesn't care. That's a pretty good mentality, honestly. And I think maybe we should all be a little more like rocks. But maybe not stay still every day 24/7. Okay, but here's where things get a little strange. Humans are obsessed with time. We worry about tomorrow, we regret yesterday, we plan years into the future, but a rock doesn't. To a rock, 100 years is basically nothing. 1,000 years, still nothing. The scale is impossible to comprehend. A rock can outlive generations, entire family trees, entire countries. It makes human life feel incredibly short. Not in a depressing way, but just in a really interesting way. Imagine finding a random rock outside. To you, it's just a rock. But what if that rock specifically has existed longer than every story that you've ever heard? Longer than every book you've read, longer than every nation currently on Earth. It's easy to think of history as something distant, but history isn't distant. Pieces of it are literally lying on the ground. We walk past them every day without noticing, and I think there's something oddly beautiful about that. Because not everything needs to move fast. Not everything needs attention. Some things just exist, quietly, patiently, for millions of years. So, now I have a serious question. Drum roll. Okay, what is the coolest rock? And before some people attack me, yes, I know there are different kinds of rocks, but whatever. So, volcanic rocks? Crystal covered rocks? Or giant mountain rocks? The ones that you find and immediately put in your pocket for like literally no reason? Everyone has a favorite, even if they don't realize it. Choose wisely, because this is important. Possibly the most important question humanity has ever faced. Or I'm just LARPing and it's really not that deep. So today we've learned several things. Rocks are ancient. Rocks help build civilization. And rocks are more emotionally stable than most people. And somehow, the more you think about rocks, the stranger they become. And maybe that's the lesson. Sometimes the most ordinary things are secretly the most interesting. You just have to pay attention. Anyway, I've spent a while talking about rocks, and that kind of means either one of two things. Either rocks are really cool, or I'm just insane and I've completely lost my mind and I'm kind of crazy. You decide. Please say rocks are cool. Please agree with me. It's been a month since I posted. Please agree with me, brides. I need that.